We're now halfway through day 2 of FRO 2021, and I hope you've been enjoying all the great sessions so far. I'm Jessica Sotelo from the content team and from World Wildlife Fund in the United States. I'm really pleased to introduce our next session on conquering the digital divide, how grassroots changemakers are bridging the gap. Get ready to be inspired by several individuals in the Global South who are rising to the challenges presented by the ways in which the digital divide manifests itself in their professional lives.
Greetings. We would like to welcome you all to our session on conquering the digital divide, how grassroots change makers are bridging the gap. As I speak today, half of the world's population are still not online. While Asia has the highest number of people without access, Latin America and Africa lead the world in the percentage of the population without connection. The coronavirus pandemic has created a new normal, which has made it problematic to engage in face-to-face interactions. The situation has made it even more difficult for actors and organizations to mobilize support and raise resources to support communities. This has made fundraising extremely challenging. Within this environment, a fundraiser must navigate poor internet connectivity and the lack of access to smartphones to connect and engage with potential supporters of their causes. It is my pleasure today to share stories from activists from the Global South who are taking on this digital divide in empowering and innovative ways. Today, you'll hear stories from Satyendra from the Indian Himalayas, Mark from the Upper East region of Ghana, Tawa Khalid from Lagos, Nigeria, Tony from Soweto, South Africa, and Mayara from the Amazon region of Brazil. I invite you to listen to how their efforts are making a difference in the lives of community citizens.
Hello, I'm Satyendra Srivastav, a medical doctor turned social worker. I took over Samata as director in 2017. Samata stands for Society for Motivational Training and Action. It's working in district Dehradun, in Chakrata Mountains, in the state of Uttarakhand, in Indian Himalayas. Samata was registered as a voluntary agency in 1986. It works as a grassroots implementing agency for primary education, watershed development, and community-based organizations. With COVID, things became even more difficult. Raising funds without visiting donors or corporate social responsibility officers was not easy. Because of COVID, staff could not move into the field and implement various programs or do feasibility studies for new ideas. We had to close down our school and shift over to online education through WhatsApp, even though connectivity is a big issue in the mountains. But we had to go ahead with all these changes. There were not many choices. I think the biggest challenge at this time was a sense of loneliness. Our Spanish donors, Manos Unidas, had postponed their trip due to COVID, and we were not free to visit our own communities in the villages. It seemed we were all alone in a big world full of uncertainties. All this had financial implications too. So at this time we were also in touch with the Ismail Foundation, and so far we had used mostly phones and emails as per the needs to communicate with our community and the donors. But we decided to go for crowdfunding, even though it always seemed a fantastic idea to me, too good to be true. I was skeptical, frankly speaking. So we started a crowdfunding campaign on milap.org, which is a popular site, and we began building an appeal on it. We faced a big challenge, and the challenge was, how could we win readers' trust in a short span of few minutes online? Because Samata, after all, is not a big organization. We don't have a huge media presence. So So we researched and found some references to our work in public media, in newspapers, and we began quoting these references in this online campaign, and use these to build up our campaign, to build up our credibility that Samta is a real organization and Samta is actually doing something for primary education in the Himalayas. The second challenge was to find a good relevant video to convey the difficulties students face to earn good education, because the premise which we were trying to put forth was that because children are traveling such huge distances in the Himalayas to come to our school, they are going through so many difficulties, therefore they deserve much better education, and to offer them better education we need a little extra funds. So that was our line of reason, a line of logic. But we didn't have a video or a good photograph to convey this complex idea. Finally, we found a short BBC video explaining the difficulties of schooling in the Himalayas. And so we used this video, and eventually our campaign began to read like a good, cohesive and convincing appeal. Another challenge was to provide regular, interesting updates to the donors, because school and our main office, from where we communicate with the outside world and where internet connection is available, are separated by 80 kilometers. So it's nearly impossible to send an email from the school which is up in the mountains. So we have to get the information from the school somehow to Vikasnagar, our main coordination office, and from here somebody will put it as an update on milab.org, or say a line of thank you to the donors on Facebook. So somehow we continued thanking donors on and off Facebook. Some donors donated even twice and more than twice. Some even visited the school before the epidemic and again when there was a lull in the epidemic. So now I'll come to the output. Beginning June 2018, we have raised over rupees 3 lakhs, which is like 15%, 1/6 of our total long-term target. Our investment has been access to internet mostly. It is a good return for our efforts because these crowd funds often fulfill a need which straight-jacketed projects do not. They offer us a little bit of flexibility and creativity in our work in the field. So I personally have learned some lessons, so has Samta, my colleagues in Samta. One thing which we have learned is this, that crowdfunding is a real phenomena and it does deliver goods. And second thing which we have understood is this, that all of us who are working in small voluntary agencies must update our online skills and keep on learning. This is the language of tomorrow. And next thing which we understood was this, that thanking donors is very important. We must thank them regularly on social media because when we thank somebody on Facebook, the message has a ripple effect. Many more people read that, they get curious and they get in touch. Other thing which we discovered was this, that very often those donors who are not on Facebook, sending them an individualized email is much better than sending a general email to more than one people. Other important understanding was this, that we built up a much better relationship with the donor. Putting up good photographs, good small videos is very important, very useful. And we have also understood one thing, that small funds can snowball into substantial funds. Of course, what we have at milab.org, it's called Support Samta School, and give us feedback with best wishes and namaste. Thank you.
My name is Mark Kebu Aparibo. I'm Executive Secretary of Tilbury, a grassroots forest and farm producer organization based in the Aparibo region of northern Ghana. Tilbury is focused on harnessing the economic potentials of forest and farm products as a catalyst for pro-poor world creation and decent work in northern Ghana. We are also focused on ensuring that we ensure rural women, youth, and men derive benefits from financial inclusion through what we call the community-based village savings and loans associations. Obviously, COVID-19 has brought about the need for a paradigm shift in the way organizations do things. And this is not limited to just big organizations around the world, but also grassroots forest and farm producer organizations such as member-based organizations such as Tilbury here in Ghana. With the COVID-19 pandemic, we as an organization had to leverage the potentials of digital technologies as a means to be able to respond to the pandemic. And we did this in several ways. First, we had to improve on our internal communications through the use of such media tools such as WhatsApp, which provided very opportunities for the organization to communicate with our many constituents around the world, and also to communicate more directly with our members who are in the Upper East region of northern Ghana. Of course, Zoom came in very handy. Zoom provided a very great tool for us to have our internal meetings online without having to meet physically, because at the heat of the pandemic, the government of Ghana advised that organizations should, as much as possible, try to work from home and use such opportunities to be able to interact amongst themselves. So Zoom came in as a very useful tool for our internal meetings. And beyond our internal meetings, Zoom also provided a very useful opportunity for us to continue to link with our partners around the world, both here in Ghana and outside the country. So we had a number of Zoom webinars we participated in. We also participated in a number of Zoom training programs that afforded us even greater opportunity to be able to enhance our work with our partners out of Ghana. And then, of course, we also had to do this against the challenge of intermittent challenges. One of the key things in terms of successes we can report is the fact that we're able to use these digital solutions to reach out to an external donor, the Pollination Project, based in the United States of America, and which provides small grants to grassroots producer organizations such as Tilbury. And through that, we're able to access a small grant of $1,000 to support what we called the Village Community Gardens Initiative, which supports mainly rural women and children in the area of nutrition in the Upper East region. We're happy to report that through this initiative, we have been able to support 2 of such projects in the Upper East region of northern Ghana. Indeed, COVID-19 has brought about the need for us to undertake a paradigm shift, of course, in the area of using digital solutions as a new way of achieving the development objectives of our organizations. In that respect, we want to say that the issue of digital tools, it's really providing a new paradigm, new frontiers in the area of communication, especially in the area of external communications. And we believe that these tools must be embraced, especially by smallholder grassroots organizations such as Tilbury. We look forward to the opportunity to be able to use digital tools moving forward, in respect of our communications and our various activities. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good afternoon. My name is Khalid Karim. I am a Nigerian living in Nigeria and the founder of the Butterfly Project. The Butterfly Project is a not-for-profit, and our tagline is for women and girls. This tagline guides our work, which is ensuring that we contribute as much as we can to improving the quality of lives of women and girls in our country, Nigeria. Before the pandemic, our project focus was on providing access to digital skills training for women at no cost. We felt that the global economy is a quite huge one, and if we could help these women learn relevant digital skills, they can leverage this economy to earn even on platforms that are not bound by location and geography. Of course, when the pandemic started, it became irresponsible to bring people together in a physical location. So we had to put that project on the back burner. As the numbers rose in Nigeria, the government instituted an initial 2-week lockdown in March 2020. When this lockdown was announced, I was very worried. Because I mean, a lot of us could afford to go to the market and get some food stuff that we're going to keep at home, so that if we couldn't go out, then we had something to feed ourselves with. But not everybody could do that. What about the daily earners in Nigeria? People who, if they don't work for that day, then they don't earn any money for that day. And if they don't earn any money, then there is no way that they can feed themselves and their families. I was very worried about this. So I thought about a campaign. I had to do something. So I thought about a campaign, and then I named it the 1 for 1 with 5K campaign. Now, the very first place that I shared this campaign on was on WhatsApp. I put it on my status and I was like, hey guys, so there is this campaign that I really want you guys to be a part of. It's termed 1 for 1 with 5K. And what I really need you to do is, if you can, please send 5,000 naira to somebody who you know that money would make a huge difference to. And then I reached out. I sent a WhatsApp message to my friend and said, hey, this is a campaign that I'm doing. Is there somebody around you that you'd be willing to give 5,000 naira to? So she said, sure, that she'd really love to do that. And she was the very first person who made a transfer through this campaign. But soon enough, I got messages from other people on my WhatsApp saying, would really like to participate, but we're not in a place where we can find somebody to give this money to. Can we send it to you and you can make the transfer on our behalf? So I was like, this is a dimension of the project that I hadn't even thought about before. But sure, I'd be willing to do it, because at that point there was a short list of people that we could send the money to. So I thought, let me not just keep this within my circle. Maybe there are other people who want to help. So I went on Instagram. The two major platforms that I leveraged were WhatsApp and Instagram. I went on Instagram, I shared about this campaign, and the initial response that we got just made me realize that a lot of times people really want to help, but maybe they don't know how to, or they don't know where to direct that help to. Because immediately I shared about the campaign, there was this outpouring of support on Instagram, on WhatsApp. People really wanted to help. And so I partnered with somebody else. Her name is Fumi. She's the founder of Immoral Foundation. I partnered with her, and then we created a list of women across 4 low-income communities that could use that help. In the very first 10 days of this campaign, we raised 1 million naira. I was shocked. To tell you the truth, I was shocked. I don't know what I expected, but I did not expect that. So what created a list, when we got the money, we matched it to individuals and families. And so we transferred the amount, the first 1 million naira that we raised, we transferred it to 144 families. Of course, we're updating people, we're sharing screenshots of the transfers on Instagram, on WhatsApp. We're sharing the screenshots of the transfers that we made. Of course, we're very conscious about privacy, so we're blanking names, but we're just trying to stay accountable to the public who trusted us with their money. Even after we raised that amount, there were still so many people who wanted to support, who were reaching out to say, oh, I'd like to donate. Can I still donate? Are there still people that you have to match, and all of that? So in another less than a week, we raised 500,000 naira. And for this tranche of distribution, we focused on individuals living with HIV, because we understood that it must have been hard to get access to the antiretroviral drugs at this time. So by the end of the campaign, we raised about 1.5 million naira, and we transferred this money to 194 families across multiple low-income communities in Nigeria. It was something. And the major challenge that we experienced was that a lot of those people did not have their own individual bank account details. So what we did was identify somebody in the community who had a bank account detail that we could transfer the money to. So in some cases, we sent money for as much as 10 people to one person's bank account. And after we sent that money, because for every person that we sent money to, we had their phone numbers. So even when we did a bulk transfer for multiple people to one person's account. We would call the people who were supposed to get the money and say, hey, did you get this money? We worked with them to choose the people whose bank accounts they wanted us to use, since they didn't have individual bank account details. And so we reached out to them even after transferring the money, and they confirmed to us that they got the money. And I mean, the project expanded beyond anything that we could have imagined, and it was just such a great thing to see practically, that because this money was raised basically through from WhatsApp and Instagram, and it was such a learning moment for us as an organization and in implementing that project. Thank you very much.
Good day, my name is Tony Mashausiaka. I am from Born to Win Foundation. It's an organization that is based in Soweto in South Africa in the Gauteng province. Our organization focuses on 4 key objectives. Number 1, poverty alleviation. We run different programs there, more especially the food parcel distribution to families that are battling with poverty. Number 2 objective is that we have a skills development arm where we equip people with skills in order for them to be able to either start their own businesses or to actually get the jobs. Number 3, we also focus on coaching and mentoring, more especially for young boys dealing with a whole lot of other challenges. And also currently we emphasize a lot on assisting young boys to respect the opposite sex and to deal with the scourge of GBV that we have been facing in our nation. So that is what our organization does. Pre-COVID, our organization would actually work with different partners, and we will raise funds through either individual donations or donations that we will get from different organizations that would sponsor all the programs that we do. But it became a challenge when COVID came, and then we struggled because we couldn't meet people. The freedom of movement was a challenge due to lockdowns, lockdown restrictions. But what we did, we actually used a lot of ICT products to communicate, like for instance Teams, Zoom and WhatsApp, and we used to call a lot in terms of having engagement with our stakeholders. We had major challenges to obviously communicate with the beneficiaries of our programs, but what we have done is that we managed to come up with some innovative ways. For instance, we managed to provide some form of training, online training using the normal social media, Instagram, WhatsApp, and also Zoom and Teams. That's where we actually had engagements with people. But challenges came up because they didn't have access to data, or they didn't have the right devices. And one of the programs that we did during COVID, we partnered with an ISP, and they sponsored us with devices, routers, which we managed to load data on them, and we distributed to mostly our young people who could not even go to school or do online education because they didn't have access to data. And we managed to actually connect with some of our partners who provided those devices so that they can be able to get online and actually interact with our programs. And our organization managed to mobilize resources using online platforms like the For Good website. That's where we actually registered, and we managed to connect with people with skills who were willing to actually offer their skills to the organization to assist us with some of our programs. And also we managed to connect with other partners through that platform. So with the advent of COVID, then we had to do a lot of online fundraising, and also just to get in touch with potential funders. No, it's not easy, it's still a challenge, but at least we managed to actually get some good partners to partner with us in our programs. Key lessons that I learned using the online platform to do fundraising is that I think for me, I realized that technology does work, and I think it actually made a lot of things very easy in terms of us being able to interact. There were some, for instance, trainings that were conducted, some seminars that were conducted with Zoom and Teams. So it's something that I take into the future in order to actually utilize technology for the things that we want to achieve. But obviously, realizing the big gap that still exists as well was quite a big shock, but I think it informed our organization in terms of where we need to align ourselves with development, more especially in the ICT space, where a lot of people are still very much not connected to the internet. But I think there has been a lot of awareness about the importance of technology. I think for me, it's something that I'm taking as a positive into the future. And from an international perspective, I think I would like to make the international audience aware that there is a lot of work that still has to be done, that needs to be done in Africa, more especially in our communities, to actually get our people connected to the internet and more technology aware, considering the advent of the fourth industrial revolution. So I'm excited about the future. Yes, the challenges have been there, but these challenges have made us to be innovative and to do things differently. So I see a better future. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Mayara Brilhante. I am CEO of Pasteros Brilhantes. It's a non-profit organization based in Manaus, like you said, JP, in the heart of Amazonia. Pasteros Brilhantes has as a mission actually to give opportunities to people who are in need. And we work based in issues that we receive it online. Our organization works with human rights, health, education, environment, generation of work and income, and emergency situations. So this is what we do here in Pasteros Brilhantes.
Perfect. And Mayara, you lead a very young organization. You were, as you told me before, you started working 2019. You were formally founded last year. And there is one specific case that happened online that you, as an organization, were able to make a very good impact in someone's life story. And could you share with us a little bit about this case that happened last year that actually involves a very famous international celebrity?
Yeah, sure. Last year we had the case which was very successful for us when we got attention from Madonna, our star actually, because she posted something on her social medias from a woman that was dancing her music, her song actually, Holidays. And I saw this post on Twitter and I started to follow her because I wanted to know what was happening with that woman. And later we just found that woman she was known by Marina Silva Manaus, but her name is Maria. So she had problems with drugs and we found her and we gave her some chances, a good opportunity to change her life. She went to rehab and she also got a new smile and now she's with her family. And before this, actually, when we first found Maria, I posted a picture on Twitter also, and we said, "Hey Madonna, we found Maria, and thanks to you, she's going to rehab and she has a new opportunity in her life." And Madonna just reposted that, so we got this attention, and the media was with us all the time. So we had some interviews and some donations also. And this was the first big history for our project last year.
And all of this during the COVID crisis, the pandemic we are going through. So you've been able to make the most from this opportunity. Of course, it's a very interesting story I invite you all to watch the video as well. And you've been since then using digital tools and digital approaches to raise funds, to communicate with people and with your communities. So how has this been working for you during these hard times? Have you been able to fundraise online or through social media?
Yes, since we born in this pandemic time, the internet was our territory. It still is, actually. So we use all the digital tools to make the difference for us. What we do, actually, we have more than, let me see now, 50,000 followers on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We basically choose that social media because it's where we have more followers and engagement. So this is the main tools for us. And we use these by creating some storytelling videos, posts, cards that show to people what we do. Actually, we have an office actually in Manaus. We have a team work on it, but it's online that we work the most. So because of the internet and all the digitals and also some softwares that we paid to, to have this engagement around, it's the main reason that we are so successful. Like, since I am a journalist, I have this media expertise to use with my team. So I think this is the difference, like, between our project and the other projects here. So basically we are online, but also offline with some actions that we do every time.
Yeah, and I'm a manager and I don't have half of your expertise. I envy you for that. So you just to be clear, you've achieved a total of around 50,000 followers on all your social media in pretty much 1 year of work.
Yeah.
Wow, yes. That's amazing. Wow, fantastic. And
more than old projects like who has history in Brazil, for example.
Of course, sure, fantastic. And you're there in Manaus, in the Amazon rainforest. It is a big city, but it's not as being São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro or a metropolis or a big city as a capital of economic capital. But anyway, you've done such an amazing job in so short time. Now, for us to end, what are the key lessons you think you've learned from this experience about the potential there is on digital fundraising, considering that you are working for grassroots communities? So would like to share something with us as well?
Sure. The first lesson is everyone is online. So we have to take advantage
even in the Amazon rainforest, right?
Even in the Amazon, yes. Everywhere you go, you see people using cell phones or tablets, everywhere you go. So we need to take advantage of this. We need to use the online universe to attack, and this was the first lesson for us. And digital fundraising is cheaper comparing to other kind of tools. So for us, like, we can invest in some medias, we can pay them, and we get a good return from these, a good feedback. And also the online universe is given huge potential to give more other potentials to reach people faster than the other traditional way. So these were the lessons that we just learned from the past year. And since we have this pandemic time, all this chaos happening, these stranger times that we call it here, we need to understand how people are working now. People are going to their, I don't know, people are working at home actually. So we need to take advantage of this. We born in the middle of the first wave in Manaus. And we also have another example to tell, like we have this lack of oxygen and the break of the health, the system here, the health system here. So we also use the online tools, Instagram, Facebook, and all the videos online to get more donations. So this year in January, we reached more than 1 million of reais in donations. So just using Instagram.
On live streaming.
Yeah, and other social medias, but Instagram for ours was the first media that we could reach people in Brazil and around the world. So we got donations from Europe, from US, from Canada, Brazil, and
Wow.
we could help the people here. What we did, we basically gave a lot of support to people here, the victims of coronavirus. So we are very happy to make part of this. Unfortunately, it was in these strange times because we lost a lot of people, but we also saved a lot of them. We're still learning from internet, we're still learning from people. And for us, it's a pleasure to help, it's a pleasure to learn. And for us, it's an opportunity to be online. I hope we still, I think this online universe has no boundaries, so we can go wherever.
We hope you found our stories insightful and relevant for your work. On behalf of Satyendra, Mark, Tawakalit, Tony, Mayara, Waxi, and the Change the Game Academy, we would like to thank you so much for listening to our stories. A key takeaway from this session is the confirmation that the advantage brought forth by digital innovation largely depends on internet connectivity, and sadly, the benefits remain unevenly distributed across the global south. Therefore, for everyone to participate in and contribute to the digital economy, closing the gap in internet access is critical. This is also essential for fundraisers in the global south to raise resources to support their causes. We look forward to engaging with you further on these vexing issues during the Q&A session. Thank you so much.